Whether you're looking to start a business or acquire a business, you need to know about the 10 companies that are essentially fail-proof and recession-proof, meaning that these things do nothing but every single year consistently print you cash. And that is exactly why I'm here today, to show you guys the playbook of how to find a company, buy a company, and start generating yourself some significant generational wealth through business ownership. What's up, guys? This is your boy, Kenny Finance. Welcome to the channel where we make nothing but smart money moves. And one of the best moves you can make is owning a company. And as a private equity investor, where I do nothing but buy companies on Wall Street all the time, I am now building myself a holding company where I am literally putting this stuff into practice today. And my vision for my holding company, which is called Dreamline Equity, it's kind of corny, but really cool, is we are going to find the most attractive cash flowing businesses that are recession resistant, and we are going to buy them and own them for the long term, so that every single year is printing me cash, but also it's going to be printing cash for my kids and my grandkids. And that, my friends, is the cheat code for generational wealth. And in this video, I'm going to be unpacking 3 key things. 1, I'm going to try to convince you guys that you should buy a business instead of starting one. 2, I'm going to talk about those 10 companies and business models that are recession resistant. And then 3, I'm going to literally give you guys step by step how to find and acquire one of these businesses. So let's dive right in. But before we dive right in, because this is literally multi-million or billions of dollars worth of game that I'm going to give you guys completely for free, the least you can do is hit that subscribe button. And if you did, you made the smartest decision by investing in yourself and joining the smart money community, and I appreciate you guys. Number 1, why acquire a business instead of starting one? Well, first and foremost, when you start a business, you are prone to startup failure. There's a crazy stat that says like 90% plus of all startups fail, meaning you have an idea, you build a business, it goes bankrupt. Literally zero. Failure. Nothing but dollars wasted and time wasted. But when you acquire a business, you mitigate that startup phase because you're acquiring a company that is 5-10 years plus old, and it is already growing and already has real operations. And then secondly, a lot of startups are burning cash on day one. So why not acquire a business that is cash flow positive on day one? That's right. So when you go and you buy a business, you are starting to generate the cash flow that business historically has generated on day one once you are the new owner. And then lastly, some of these businesses, especially the ones that I'm going to talk about today, are recession proof, meaning that you don't have to go through the phases and the winds of companies being here today and then gone tomorrow. No, but find something that you can invest in that has stayed consistent for the long term through recessions, through crises, through stock market crashes. And if you can find a company that you can acquire that has done that successfully, you can start printing yourself cash through good times and bad. Now, the reason why you guys clicked this video, the 10 businesses that do not fail. Number 1, waste management and recycling. Regardless if times are good or times are bad, if you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, if you're in Asia or America, people have trash. And no matter how good the economy is doing or how bad the economy is doing, people generate waste. And if you can find yourself a recycling company or a waste management company or a trash bin cleaning business, anything that focuses on the waste management space, that, my friends, is recession resistant. And for each of these type of business models, I'm going to give you guys what the gross margin profile is. If you don't know what a gross margin is, that is essentially your revenue, how much you make, less your cost of goods sold, or people call it COGS. And that is essentially the cost that it took to produce that product or generate that service. And typically you have a gross profit, and that gross profit divided by your revenue is your gross margin. And a lot of folks that are investors like to look at what type of companies have a high gross margin, because it helps to give a little bit of an indication, not exactly, but a close indication of what kind of cash flow dynamics you're going to have in that business. And for a waste management business, those typically have between a 30 to 40% gross profit margin. Now, moving on. Number 2, female beauty services. Now, if you're anyone like my mom, my sister, my aunt, they love to get their hair done, their nails done, their lashes done, all that stuff. Whether it is literally 2008 or 2009 during a recession, or if it's good times like 2024 or 2021. Regardless of whatever the time is, the economic setup, the geographic preference, there are going to be females and guys that focus on having health and beauty services. Whether it's haircuts or hair salons or nails or lashes, regardless, those type of businesses are around forever. And these companies can have pretty attractive gross margins as well. And some of them are between the 40 to 50% gross margins. Number 3, car washes. And for this, car washes are essential because cars get dirty. And if you're anyone like me, I can't stand having my car filthy all the time, because how clean my car is kind of shows like how clean and how well I take care of myself, at least in my head. So I think car washes are a really sound, great investment, because regardless if things are good or bad, you're likely going to need to wash your car. And what I love about this is they are also cash flowing businesses with low cost required. All you really need is to have the actual car wash property, as well as maybe 1 to 2 attendants to take care and wash wash some of these cars, and then the rest is the machines that do all of the work for you. Or you can even acquire one of those stalls to where folks can literally just drive in and pull out the different gadgets to wash the cars themselves. Like, that's pretty attractive. And what I love about car washes is that some of these kind of businesses can have 60% plus gross margins. All right, moving on. Laundromats. And I like to put this one as laundromats / dry cleaning. Look, people wear clothes. Clothes get dirty, and not everyone has a washer and dryer in unit. All right, so they need to go somewhere to wash their clothes. Now, the thing is, laundromats can be pretty competitive, so prices can be a little low. But the key is, if you can find yourself a laundromat with limited competition, and you can have added services such as wash and fold or dry cleaning services, you could be printing yourself significant dirty clothes cash. And laundromats, the margins typically vary based on what you're offering, but I've seen some between 30 to 50% gross margins. Next, property management. Now, there has been a huge trend of a lot of folks out buying properties and flipping companies. Now, the thing is, not everyone has the time, the energy, and the resources to manage these properties on a day-to-day basis. And there needs to be a middle person to handle all of the things that the owner doesn't want to do, whether it's collecting rent, cleaning properties, dealing with tenants, all that stuff. So having a property manager is a sound service to have so that you can take care of the needs of these real estate owners. You can do this for apartment buildings, you can do this for single-family houses, townhouses, all kinds of stuff. If there are homes or properties that exist and there is a landlord that doesn't have the time to handle all the needs of that property, then there needs to exist a property manager. Boom. Thus, the business model that we can invest in. And what I like about this is that these are typically recurring revenue models, and you're also probably getting a piece of the rental income. So you're probably getting like 2 to 5% of whatever the gross rent is of that property that you're managing. And then gross margins for this kind of company, they kind of range, but I've seen some all the way from 30 to 50% gross margins if it's more tech-enabled and doesn't have that many staff required to manage some of these properties. Next is HVAC, heating, venting, and air conditioning. Like I said, on the property front, all properties need to have an HVAC system to keep it cool during the summers, warm during the winters, and well ventilated. And there are so many HVAC companies that exist. And if you can go out and acquire and build a platform for some of these, that, my friends, is an incredible business. And I'm trying to do that myself, roll up a lot of these HVAC companies. So if you know anyone that owns an HVAC business that is interested in selling, tell them to reach out to Kenny Finance and we will write them a check to own their company. But these are typically high ticket projects that you can do, whether it's installing, maintenance, or repairing, and the gross margins are very attractive. Some of these can be 40 to 50% plus gross margins for HVAC businesses. And what's amazing is there's a large universe of these to where you can acquire one, build that expertise, and then acquire a bunch of others using that cash flow. So you can build yourself a little local, incredible HVAC platform. Now, moving on, the business of death. Funeral services. Now, this one is a little bit of a dark one, but the fact of the matter is people need to bury and celebrate the lives of the folks and the loved ones that have passed away. Thus, there needs to be people that are operating the cemeteries, operating the funeral homes, and having the viewings, etc. So if you can find a business, typically these are family-owned businesses, that operates in the funeral services space, and you can handle it with care and integrity and keep the quality that they're offering, that is an attractive business because it is incredibly recurring. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but there are people that are dying literally every single day, and there needs to be a funeral service provided for these families. And the margin profile for funeral services companies can range between 50 to 60% plus, and that is very attractive for service-oriented companies. So this is a highly recurring one with high margins, and I highly encourage you guys to check that one out. All right, moving on to number 8. But before I do, I just did the math. I gave you guys 7 recession-resistant cash flowing businesses. That is at least worth $700,000 in my math. But for free, you guys can just smash that subscribe button so that you never miss a beat when it comes to saving, investing, and now business buying. So moving on to number 8, pest control. If you're anyone like me, I hate spiders. I can't stand centipedes. Ugh, they gross me out. So what I typically do is that when I see a bug, if I can kill it myself, I'll do it. But if not, and I'm too scared, I will hire a pest control company. And there are so many people that don't want to do the dirty work of killing these bugs themselves. Thus, there needs to exist a pest control company that can kill things on the spot or pest-proof a home so that folks can live and sleep soundly, knowing that there aren't critters running around their house. And the margin profile for a pest control company can range between 40 to 60% for gross margins. So check that out if you're kind of scared of bugs, just like me. And look, I'm not ashamed to say it. I hate bugs. I'm terrified of them. So I'm going to be buying up a lot of these pest control businesses to 1, generate cash flow, but then 2, come over my house when I see a huge spider that I don't want to kill myself. All right, moving on to my last 2, self-storage. What I love about this thesis is that so many folks are moving into these big cities, and the issue is there is not enough space and storage for all of their crap. Thus, there needs to be storage companies and self-storage businesses that folks can drive to, drop off their furniture or totes of some of the things that they don't need for a particular season, and store some of their goods. And for you as an investor, a self-storage company is just like real estate. You have a plot of land, you have self-storage units, and you rent it out literally on a monthly basis to folks that are trying to store their goods. And you can be generating tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month just by storing other people's crap. And guess what? It is low overhead. All you need is to have some lights, maybe 1 or 2 people to secure and manage the self-storage unit, and then everything else is literally online. And then just make sure that your place is clean, climate controlled, and that you get good reviews. And then folks that are moving to these cities that have a bunch of crap are going to be putting so much more stuff into your storage units. So check that out. And for the self-storage market, since it's low overhead, you can have gross margins between 60 to 70%. That's a lot of cash flow. And then lastly, I've given you guys so much content. Lastly is auto repair shops. So regardless if we're living in places that drive gas or electric, internal combustion engines or Teslas, you are going to need to repair a car if something happens. Whether it's a chip in the window or your oil needs to be replaced or your car battery isn't starting or doesn't work, you're gonna need to take it to a local auto repair shop to get something fixed. And that exists whether it's a good or a bad time, because folks need to get from point A to point B. Whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's a trip, you need to make sure that your car is functioning. Thus, there needs to be these local shops of auto repair services and mechanics that can fix cars on the spot ASAP. And for the auto repair shops, I've seen gross margins from 30% all the way to 50%. But what's key is that these are typically recession-proof. Everyone needs to get their car fixed. And if you can have a network of some of these mechanics, that is a pretty sound way to generate yourself some passive cash flow. All right, folks, those are my 10 ideas for recession-resistant, fail-proof businesses that can print you cash on day one. Now, how to find these. 2 main steps. 1, go on some of the sites like Biz Buy Sell, pick a geography, pick a business or industry, and look at all the different listings. And look at the ones that have high revenue, high cash flow, and a pretty attractive purchase price, and try to find something that is interesting to you. And then the next step is outreach to all of the brokers. Have a conversation with them, send them your information, and say, hi, I'm interested in this listing. If this listing is already taken, I still like to chat so that I can get on your radar for future opportunities. So make sure that you are top of mind for business brokers and advisors to work with some of these business owners so that you can be top of mind when they're thinking about selling a business. And then all you have to do is start reviewing these things frequently and try to find something that strikes your criteria so that you can invest and pounce on it as soon as possible. And then there's a bunch of other steps like diligence and closing and legal and then actually running the company, but we'll touch on that at a later date. But for now, I highly encourage you guys to check out bizbuysell.com because it is a marketplace of tens of thousands of companies that are for sale today. And your dream of becoming a business owner and generating cash flow on day one and a recession-resistant business can happen today. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys smash that like button. It absolutely means the world to me. And I appreciate you guys rocking with us, and best of luck when it comes to your business acquiring journey. And if you guys want a really awesome book on how to invest and how to acquire a business and literally get a step-by-step instruction of how to find these companies and acquire them and run them, I highly encourage you guys to read Buy Then Build. That is one of the best books that I've read this year and has informed my entire process for building my holding company. And if you want the key takeaways, I literally made a video focused on the top 100 books that I read that were finance and money related, and Buy Then Build was one of them. So check out that video next. All right, guys, best of luck with your business investing journey. Find something that is recession resistant and start printing yourself some cash flow. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.